What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and today I'm joined by Rex from Dynamite. What's up, Rex?
What's going on, buddy? As you can see, I'm shooting from my Studio B,
Nice.
otherwise known as my house.
I like that. I like that. It's been a couple weeks since we've done this show. We had the holidays and all this
We
kind of
did.
stuff. We didn't have the EXP show this week, but we are coming back on Monday. So
We
join
are,
us,
yes.
everybody, on Monday night, 5 p.m. Central Time. That's 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Correct.
And we'll be there for 2 hours. Got some great comics and collectibles. What are they? They're going to be fantastic. We're going to surprise you this week. We're going to
And
do
I
a
want to remind
2022 surprise.
exactly. And I want to remind everybody to make sure to, well, most important thing, definitely hit the sub button. Definitely thumbs up for Robbie's show, but also contribute to the chat. If you contribute to the chat, we're going to do a drawing on Monday. I know because of the holidays and some crazy stuff. A lot of people were out of the office. I've been working out of the house this week. So we haven't done it, I think, in a couple of weeks. But everybody that, even if you just say hello, you're going to enter a drawing, and Robbie will run his random wheel of ridiculousness on our Monday show. We'll pick a winner. And all you got to do to enter is throw something on the chat. Even say, hey, like your beard, Robbie. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're up there, you're going to get entered into to win the free gift. All right.
Absolutely.
And we'll announce that Monday.
Yeah, very excited. So all you got to do is comment below, like usual. So throw a comment, do whatever you say. Hey, say what your favorite book you read this week was, your favorite Dynamite book, who you think the Super Bowl picks are going to be. Let us know something in the comments. You'll be entered to win that contest.
Exactly.
Rex, when we started our professional relationship together, it was near the beginning of the football season, right?
It was.
And so we've had all this smack talk all this
Yeah.
season, and here we are at the beginning of 2022, and both of our teams are in the playoffs. Holy cow.
I genuinely did not expect to see two NFC East teams in the playoffs. Obviously, you're going to have one, a division winner. But I did not really expect that the second place team, whomever that ended up being, was going to have enough wins to actually make the postseason, even with the expanded postseason that we have this year. So I found that to be a quite interesting development. The Eagles, again, I'll work back to the first third of the season and say that Sirianni has been a pleasant surprise. He's adapted to the situation. I think that shows growth. Still, we look very, very suspicious. Not that your Dallas Cowboys do not, but I think the real topic of the week has to be what's up with Antonio Brown, man.
Bruh.
The dude blew like $1 million for what?
Yeah, and then they're trying to say he had an ankle injury and he was going to be forced to play through it. And I'm like, but you're doing jumping jacks out there in the end zone. Like, Anthony Brown, I remember because I was a TO fan, okay? Especially when he played with Dallas. Like, I was a TO fan, and he played over there for y'all. So you know what
in the driveway.
There's some of these personalities, and like it's just so crazy. Like Antonio Brown, everything he went through with the Steelers, right? And then, like Tomlin wasn't having it, right? And now so everybody's okay, well, Brady's fixing it, right? Like he's working with Brady, it's going well, and now Brady's losing some of his weapons. And dude, that was crazy. When I heard about that, I got like an ESPN alert, and I went, "What?" So I had to watch the video.
It was so surreal. It was so bizarre. But the thing about it is, I think that it wasn't commonly picked up on at the time, but there were a handful of articles actually saying, "Hey, everybody's looking at Tomlin like, you can't control your guy." I think now, from what we've seen that Tomlin actually kept him in line for a number of years, giving him the ability to actually achieve some of the numbers he's achieved. And without Tomlin there, kind of like when little kids are at the bowling alley and those guardrails come up for the gutter, that's Tomlin. And when you took those railings away, you see how this has ended up. I mean, I got to tell you, I personally believe, I remember years back when Brown was still with the Steelers, he took that massive hit. I've got to tell you, I genuinely believe that the man has CTE.
Yeah.
Because the behavior is so bizarre. I mean, it's so, you have to, I think T.O. was he was difficult. And that's very common with wide receivers. You look at OBJ, you look at Randy Moss, okay? wide receivers tend to have that larger than life personality. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But what Antonio Brown's doing is just it's not, it's not even showmanship. It's really self-destructive behavior on every
Yeah.
level. And you begin to wonder, I mean, as we learn more and more about CTE, I mean, you look at Aaron Fernandez, okay? Who would have thought the guy was like a murderer? I mean, yeah, he was a little crazy, but what?
Yeah.
So you got to imagine something's going on there. I mean, you just have to.
That's why
Yeah.
I really liked Tom Brady's response when he was like, "Let's just all hope that Antonio gets the help that he needs," right? And like it wasn't like about poking, fun or like pointing fingers or anything like that.
Right.
It seemed like he's concerned, because I had heard that Brady had spent a lot of time like with Brown, with like bringing him over to the house and like working out with him and just trying to keep him in that crew, right? And so it's
I think,
definitely an interesting situation. Something's gonna be up because he blew away a lot of money because he was
right.
about to hit some more like paydays, right? Some
Yep.
bonuses. They are on their way to a playoff run, a push to defend their Super Bowl championship. Like it's such a weird, odd moment for it to happen. And at the time, when he walked off, weren't they losing at the time?
They were.
And
They
then they
were.
came back and won.
Yeah,
And
then they
so
came
like,
back, the little Tom Brady magic. Yeah, it's you begin to wonder because I mean, even someone who is completely just can't read people, after the whole vaccination card thing and what Arians publicly said, I mean, even the most insensitive person should be able to understand that. Like, look, I'm really out there, on a rope here. This is really my last chance. I'm not going to put up with much. And saying you're not going to go in, and the injury thing. Look, even if he was injured, okay, if he was still able to run, which he clearly was, and able to do jumping jacks, maybe they just needed you in there as a decoy, okay?
yeah,
Maybe draw double coverage, opening somebody else up because you are still Antonio Brown. And I think for him not to see that if he did this, Arians was going to bounce him because Arians. I don't think he wanted to keep him after the whole vaccine card scandal, but Brady probably talked to him. Teams are dropping players left and right due to COVID. He's thinking, well, probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have a premier wide receiver in my back pocket in case.
yeah.
But this had to be the last straw. And Arians is not a guy that's in the news a lot for being hot headed, being stupid. I mean, he's no Urban Meyer for God's sakes. Okay, so when Arians says, listen, he didn't come to us about no ankle injury, you got to wonder what's going on in Antonio Brown's head. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really so Brady has something, but I think Brady was a little arrogant too. I mean, it was certainly self-serving to have one of the best receivers in NFL history play for you, and to think that, well, I'm Tom Brady, I can make anything happen. This ain't the Super Bowl, brother. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So I think he was a little arrogant thinking he could fix this problem that Tomlin obviously was sitting there going, I told you people, you guys have no idea what I did to keep this thing
Oh
together
man,
for all
and
the
and
years I did.
Tomlin had to go through it too with like Le'Veon Bell and
Hmm.
like all that kind of stuff and like what's Bell doing nowadays? Okay. But
Yeah, exactly. Right.
this has been a crazy season. And I know that first of all, we our teams play tomorrow night, Saturday night.
Yes.
And not necessarily like is anything really banking on
Oh,
that game.
sorry,
Oh,
guys. Cat,
Station.
cat,
Hell
move.
yeah.
Oh,
What's the
oh,
cat's
dude,
name?
what's up? That is Ernie. So
Hey
we ended
Ernie.
up so the short version of the cat story was during the start of the pandemic, our dog had passed away about 8 months prior to that. Dog we had for about 21 years. Um, and we got bored. So my daughter and I stuck in the house. She goes, let's go get another dog. And I said, yeah, that wouldn't be such a bad plan, right? So we go to the shelter a friend of mine works at. And we walk in there. It was like a Times Square shell game. I went in for a dog. I ended up with two cats, two brothers. So we ended up naming them Bert and Ernie.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so it worked out, I guess. Now she wants a dog, and I'm like, no way, I'm not getting a dog now. Yeah, that's a shot, dude. That's
I've
it.
lived in a house with a dog and 3 cats, and that wasn't necessarily always the best. I'll say
Well, we
that.
had that situation. Like, if you're a pet, you want to end up in my house, in my care. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I had a cat that I got my junior year in college, and that cat passed away when my daughter was a year and a half old.
Oh, wow.
I had another cat that lived until he was about 14, 15. The dog we got when my daughter was about a year, 2 years old. and he passed away. I mean, he lived until he was 20. So yeah, you tend to, yeah, animals tend to live a long life. I didn't realize it was a Dotson. I didn't realize Dotson were that long lived. You know, I remember when he was 8 or 9, and I would take him to the vet, and our vet wasn't there, so there was like a fill-in, and he also happened to be a Dotson breeder. And I just out of curiosity, I asked, "How long do they generally live?" He goes, well, you know, the average age is about 18. He says, but you know, I've had ones that lived to 21, 22. And I'm
awesome.
sitting there. I kid you not, Robbie. I'm doing the math. I'm like, wait a minute. My daughter's going to go off to college, and I still got to take care of this dog. And that's exactly what ended up happening. He passed away, I think, her sophomore year or her freshman year, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, he lived a long time too. So that's the cat. He hasn't done that before. I've had lots of Zoom calls. He's never done that. I guess he's hungry or something. They do nothing but eat and sleep.
First PCP appearance of Ernie the cat. So that's exciting.
Ernie the cat. That's right.
Very exciting.
If this show gets more views because of Ernie the cat, I'm going to be a little bit upset on the inside. I'm not going to.
Hey, everybody, share this with your friends right now. We want to get this to be the highest viewed one of these shows because of Ernie the cat, right? I'm a big cat person.
Yeah.
I'm a big cat person. So.
Yeah. So yeah, we came up with the Bert and Ernie. They were a bonded pair in the same cage. They're brothers. They're found just roaming about. They're not very bright, so I don't believe they were abandoned and outside for a very long period of time because they're really not very bright.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, we got the Eagles, we got the Cowboys this weekend. The COVID protocols started to hit my Cowboys. We got Micah is going to be out, I think, for that game.
Well, I mean,
it's good for y'all.
I mean, for us, there's really nothing to play for. So the question becomes: do we rest our starters or do we play them? I think you give Minshew a chance. He did pretty good, you know, when we needed him. Let him play. No reason to get Jalen Hurts, injured, you know, for a game that's meaningless to us. It's just not going to change our seed really at all. There's only one bye to give in each conference. Now, do you guys still have a chance at the number 1 seed? You do, don't you?
No, we do not.
You're out.
That ended last week because we lost and the Packers won. So
right.
I think we have the potential to move up from seed 4, but I think we're going to just stay at 4. I think we're going to get a rematch with the Cardinals. And I actually think that's good for us, even though they beat us on Sunday. I for some reason, I think it's good. Like having just played them, being beaten by them, it's going to put a fire under them. Dak played really poorly in that Cardinals game. And they've, you know, I'm a Cowboys fan through and through. I'm always going to root for my boys. I'm always going to say that we got a chance. I'm always going to say that we're going to make it. This is the year we make it to the Super Bowl. But man, my team's been so inconsistent this year. I can't depend on it. Plus, they haven't beaten any of these playoff teams yet. We lost to the Cardinals. We lost to the Chiefs. We lost to the Bucks. I don't know. I don't know. We would really need Aaron Rodgers to have an off day if we made it to like a conference championship against them.
And he's not having off days right now. I mean, I got to say that other than the age factor, you know, clearly Aaron Rodgers has had a far superior season to Tom Brady. Yeah, he's not throwing those kind of picks. His accuracy is out of this world. I think the problem you guys have with Dak, you know, being totally, you know, as objective as I can be being an Eagles fan, the problem has been his inconsistency. And I hate to say this because it doesn't loom good for you guys long term. He reminds me of Kirk Cousins. You know?
Yeah, okay.
He has those moments, and then he doesn't have those moments. And then he has those moments where he's missing, you know, wide open receivers and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and that inconsistency has really not gone away. And last season was not a good, was really not a good test because he was injured. So you begin to wonder, is he that answer? You know, I mean, look, not everybody's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Let's call it what it is, okay? What's his face? With the Rams. I want to say Neil Bradford, but I know I'm wrong. Or I want to say Sam Bradford, but I'm not.
Talking about Stafford?
What's that?
You talking about Stafford?
Stafford.
Yeah.
So look at him. You know, he off to a roaring start. Now he's inconsistent. I mean, it's very hard to get that kind of Aaron Rodgers consistency. Even Tom Brady is struggling.
There is this one moment, though, you can, and I'm not trying to read into things, but the because we started off really strong for like 6 or 7 games. Yeah. Even that first loss against the Bucks, like I think they played really well for what they were going up against, right? The defending Super Bowl champs on opening night. But like ever since Dak hurt his calf and he had to miss that 1 week, it hasn't been the same. That's where the inconsistencies have started, at least in this season, right? But if you were writing this as a movie,
Ernie the cat has decided to make another appearance.
I love
Sorry.
it. Yeah. If you were
What?
writing this as a movie,
Uh-huh.
right? And the opening game this year was the Bucks and the Cowboys. The Cowboys lose, and at the end of that game, Dak said to Tom Brady, "Don't worry, we'll see y'all again." Wouldn't that be great if that was the NFC Championship and the Cowboys beat the Bucks? Wouldn't that be a perfect, like, if you were writing this as a movie? And so if John is right,
I wouldn't watch
this,
that movie, Robbie.
if John is right, and this is all like, kayfabe, this is all fake, right? It's all like just scripted. That's where they're going. But probably not. What's up, Ernie?
But I don't know. He never does that. I don't know why.
Because he hears my voice and he's like, "Oh, that's the Robbie. He's the cat king, man."
Cool. This cat. Oh my God. So note to self: feed cats prior to doing the live stream. Okay, so I'm gonna write that one down. Well, first of all, I wouldn't watch that movie if
I know
if
you
wrote
wouldn't.
that script. What are you doing, cat? You know what? Here's the thing. I don't think any of it matters when you're talking about postseason this year because at any moment anybody can be hit by the COVID problem. So who you're going to have that week is very hard to say. I mean, the Eagles even tried to take it one step further, and they had their quarterbacks, their three quarterbacks, working out separately. In quarterback meetings, they're all doing Zoom calls, even within the facility. And guess what happened? They still got hit. So that I think that's the problem going into the playoffs is you can't really say for sure who's going to do what. It must be really interesting over in Vegas as they're trying to work out the odds.
Yeah.
Because who's playing? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I mean, the Super Bowl's what, 4 weeks from now, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It's the 13th, right? February 13th, I believe.
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's a long time when you think about world and COVID. Okay. All right. It seems like every day, oh, well, this team, is on, the COVID quarantine list. I mean, so who knows who's going to be playing it on any given week? Probably the only thing we know is that for the Dallas Eagles game that probably the starters won't play.
Yeah.
Okay? For Eagles, if Sirianni, puts any of the starters in beyond like the first offensive series or the first, set of offensive to defensive series, I'm going to go right back to trashing them because that's just stupid. Actually, if anything, you should put them in a hermetically sealed room until the playoffs begin.
I know, right? I'm like, if you're making the postseason push right now, like if I was on one of these teams that has a shot, I would be like totally locked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I guess they have so many people in the facilities. I don't know, but you
I
just
feel
think
like just stay at home.
Yeah, just stay at home.
Stay at home.
Work out at home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what are you going to work on in practice that is worth potentially losing some of your key players to COVID?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because how do you even prep? Okay, because you don't know who's first at this point you don't know who you're playing yet. But even when you do, how do you know who on that team will be playing on that given day? You don't.
Yeah. All right. So even though we're fans, hardcore fans of our teams, for me, the Cowboys, for you, the Eagles, we can be objective, so we're also just fans of the game. So right now, who do you think is making it to the Super Bowl, Rex?
I genuinely, if I were asked to pick, I would say it's going to be Green Bay. And this is going to be my surprise shot. I would say probably the Patriots, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm with you on Green Bay. They seem very unfrickin' stoppable right now, right?
Yep.
They're playing good. Even when Rodgers has all of his damn wide receivers out, he still will find a way. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right? But the Titans, when they lost Derrick Henry, kept winning, and he's coming back. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking Packers-Titans right now. So
the reason I'm thinking the Patriots is that I think the key there is, once again, you have the random COVID factor, okay, floating around out there, and you don't know who you're going to play or what players will be available, for your opponent. But Belichick, and I'm not a fan of the guy. Okay, Belichick, with this cat, what are you doing, bro? He's going down. With Belichick, he finds a way to win. Look at that game in the snow that they had where Mac had what? How many passes? Like 3, 4, something
Three,
like
yeah.
that. The conditions were windy. They were certainly less than ideal. Nobody could get a ball up there. You can forget about downfield passing because the wind was blowing around so hard. So what did he do? He adapted to the situation of the day, and found and grounded, pounded, the offense and just adapted. And that's the funny thing is that if COVID runs rampant and you got to make quick switches and put people in places they don't need to be, I give Belichick, that much more. I mean, think about when Garoppolo played there, okay, and he had to come in and fill in for Tom Brady. Man, Garoppolo looked great, and now years later, with the Niners, first of all, very injury prone, certainly, but so there's just something about Belichick, I think, that given current conditions because of the unknown, kind of like the weather, you got COVID, I think he has the best ability to adapt to it. And, the Titans haven't really been, playoff team, for a really long time. It's a little different when you're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Everybody goes to 0-0.
That's true.
There's a level of stress, and I think that's when experience plays a big role. That's why I don't, obviously beyond the fact that the Eagles don't have enough tools, I don't think Sirianni has enough experience to carry through, the playoffs. I think that's where the coaching experience becomes really, really critical.
Yeah. Now you make a lot of good points. So you heard it here first. Right now, Rex is picking the Patriots and the Packers. I'm picking the Packers and the Titans, though I do want it to be the Cowboys and the Bills, just because, 90s nostalgia. So.
Well, I would not object to the Bills. I would like to see the Bills win one.
Yeah, they started doing the same thing the Cowboys started doing. It's like in the second half, the season started getting a bit inconsistent, right? And it's a shame.
They just couldn't. They couldn't win the big one. I mean, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas. I just couldn't. They couldn't get over that hump. It almost kind of became sad in a way. I remember watching through those years. Every year they're there, and every year it's like not quite there.
Yep, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, right?
Yes, exactly. Very well said. So that's been a little bit sad.
And the other sad thing that's happened since we've last chatted was John Madden passed away. So an iconic figure in the NFL and the video game industry, of course. So
yes.
And I'll be honest, man. So they just did that documentary, the Madden documentary, a couple weeks ago. And when I first saw the ads for that, I was like, I thought John Madden had died. And then he died, and I was just like, oh man. Like, did I do that? I felt bad.
If you can harness that power, I can email you a list of other people.
Oh no!
And I wouldn't mind that. No, I'm kidding. I was talking to a friend about Madden, and it's interesting because, he represented something different to every generation. I remember watching him as a coach of the Steelers. I'm old enough to remember that. I remember when the first Madden games, came out. I also remember his career as a broadcaster. But as there are less of people my age that remember all three phases of his career, and more people, of a younger, people that remember his broadcasting career, people that remember the first Madden football coming out. He was a prolific guy. He was fun to watch. So it's really a shame. It's kind of a shame that he's gone. I remember his Miller Lite commercials were the best. That era of Miller Lite commercials were absolutely phenomenal.
I first remember him mostly from the games and then as a broadcaster. And but I was always a Tecmo Bowl kind of guy, so I played more of those than I did the Madden games. The Madden games were like really complex sometimes, man.
Yes.
And I was like, what? I can't even imagine what they were like. They still make them? Do they still make those games?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Madden still has a football game. His name's still on the front. Yeah, I mean that is a long-time franchise. It's been said that he made more off that video game than he ever made, off of his coaching or broadcasting career.
Oh, I bet, right? I just remember when I was a kid, the only coaches I knew of any professional coaches by name were Billy Martin, John Madden, and Tommy Lasorda. Because of the Slim Fast commercials.
Oh, right. I'm old enough to remember Joe DiMaggio's Mr. Coffee commercials.
Oh man, I wish I did.
That's way back in the day. Yeah, he
Joe
was
DiMaggio, He's like one of my favorite players of all time. Like I have a one of my Yankees jerseys is a DiMaggio jersey. I have two. I have well, it's a practice jersey, but I have the DiMaggio one, and then my official jersey I have is Jeter because probably the greatest baseball player I got to see in my lifetime so far. So,
Well, he is definitely the last person who will play for one baseball team his entire career.
I know.
That's my belief. Yeah.
Jesus, probably.
So we'll see if Trout ever gets traded away from the Angels.
Yeah, it will happen one day. It'll be like when we thought Pujols was going to be with the Cardinals forever, and then I mean that's usually what happens now. People wanting to overstay their welcomes sometimes. Speaking of overstaying their welcomes, man, Ben's done his last snap in Pittsburgh, so that's interesting.
That should have happened 2 years ago.
I know, man. He could have went out a lot better. And they should have been building up. They should have been, but whatever.
It should have happened, but I understand why they did it. I mean, they that's not how the Steelers organization tends to work, but I kind of understand it. So
yeah,
so
it'll be interesting to see where they go in the next couple of years. So that could be cool. So, I've heard rumors about what's his name, Russell Wilson possibly going over there, but I think they should go younger. I think they should try to build up somebody new.
Well, there was talk about Russell Wilson coming to Philadelphia. I mean, that's the real question. So we'll see. We'll end up seeing what happens, but I think more or less he's not going to stay with the Seahawks. That I think is pretty much pretty much predetermined. I'd find it very difficult. And maybe that's best. I mean, it's like Andy Reid, who I loved when he was here at the Eagles. Obviously great coach. He goes to Kansas City, does what he does. But his time with the Eagles, as sorry as I was to see him go, and then we ended up getting Chip Kelly. I think his time at Philadelphia had really come to an end. And, with his sons and stuff, he had some tragedies in this area, and I think he just needed a fresh start. And obviously did great for him, did phenomenal. But it is what it is. I mean, that's the thing about the NFL. But it should be interesting. I'll say this much. Bookies throughout the country are gonna have a very interesting time because, man, the way COVID is ripping through teams and stuff, you just don't know who's showing up on game day.
Yeah, it could. This is a whole new thing for it's NFL. It's in the NBA's dealing with it right now. I mean, the Lakers over the last month have done so many 10-day contracts, still to no avail. Like Lakers suck this year. So I've already way past giving up on that. But it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes forward. Like they're going to start changing some of the things, like expanding the roster, having more people so that there are more people ready to come in and step in and things like that. Because
that could be.
It doesn't seem like it's going away. So
yeah. I mean, it may be the new reality everybody has to live in. But I mean, what can you do?
What can you do?
Nothing you can do. But
well, it's been super fun chatting with you about Super Bowl. I mean, about football, about the Super Bowl and football and all that stuff.
If Dave tunes into the show, he's not going to be happy. But what are you going to do? Trust me, I've been stuck in a house all week. I'm ready to. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now. So I'm glad we got to talk a little football face to face. It's the most human interaction I've had since Wednesday when I did the show with Alec.
Yeah.
But yeah, just reminding everybody out there. Listen, I know we drifted off into football today, and that's part of the fun. And I know that we have football fans out there that are viewers like us. Call out Stevie B, our consummate Jets fan. Just want to give that poor boy a hug. And no matter how much you talk about it, it always ends up the same for the Jets, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They win when nobody cares, when it don't mean a thing. They start winning. Yay, go Jets, Jets, Jets.
Yeah.
But just on a side note, I mean, we'll be back to our regular programming Monday 6 to 8 Eastern time with Robbie as always, and running our special contests. We'll have CGC signed books, remark sketch covers that we're now calling commission cover art, CCA. So we're trying to make that stick. We're going to keep throwing out against the wall. And if I suddenly blank out, it's because the cat is under the desk trying to get at the wires. If you see smoke, that means the cat electrocuted himself.
Oh, no.
So why are you so needy today? We'll have a statue on definitely. So, we'll have the normal range of stuff. And of course the fun banter. And I believe John will be back on Monday. So we'll be,
nice.
it'll be back to the Three Musketeers. And then we do our show on Wednesdays, and on Fridays we have original art 7 to 8. So right back into the new year doing the same thing, and loving all our viewers out there. I want to thank them again for all their support in 2021. If you're watching Robbie's show, make sure you hit that sub button. You're hitting the thumbs up. You're sharing. Definitely help Robbie grow. I mean, other than the football talk and the spam talk and the banter back and forth, Robbie's other streams actually are very informational and educational about pop culture, about a whole mess of things. And the man knows his stuff. So definitely, subscribe and introduce your other comic book pop culture fans to Robbie's channel. I guarantee you're going to find something that piques your interest.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for the kind words, Rex. And thank you out there for checking out the video. Be sure to comment below, and you're entered to win the contest. We'll announce that winner on Monday's show over at the EXP, The Experience. A link to that channel is in the description below. Be sure to go over there and sub up so you don't miss any of those fantastic shows, including our show. All right, y'all. We really do appreciate it. And good luck to your football team. If you don't like football, good luck to just whatever you're doing for the next month. But it's going to be an exciting time. Me and Rex are here with all the comic book and football commentary that you can stand, and spam on the side. Anyway, I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. That's Rex. We're out. Station.
Thanks, guys.